Hello, everybody. Tonight's the original art experience. And because it's such a special show tonight, I think we should just skip through this cold open and just get to the main stuff. But I know you guys were talking about the vertical screening. So, like, if you don't want to watch, let's just try to get to the horizontal one. I think that's on the regular YouTube channel, right, Jay? I think.
Well, they're both on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's just when you click on one at the end of the title, it has a little like phone, looks like a calculator to me, but it's got a little emoji at the end of it.
Okay.
So I put the link to the regular sized one in that vertical stream chat. So if you scroll up a little bit, find it, hop on over here. We're still working this thing out.
All right. So, Jay, let's get this next opening out of the way so we can get to the show.
What do you mean Nick is late? Nick is here. But we want to get a warm-up for everybody. That's why Amy sold the movie. I didn't. So Amy and Jay are going to talk about the movie for a few minutes, warm you guys up, and then we're going to bring in the guest of honor. So Amy, take it away. I can't believe they think I'm going to be late when I've got an important guest here. Can you believe it? This is a good time to say no, I know.
Hopefully I can ask Mark a quick question. I only have to say hi to him real quick. Yes, it's a big Spider-Man night. I don't know how many people got to see it. I mean, a lot of people saw it. Obviously, it's officially the highest-grossing movie of the year, and it did that in under a week. Pretty impressive.
No, Lou, absolutely no spoilers at all. We're not going to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah.
Tariq, just to let you know, you're on the vertical stream, boss. If you go up in the comments, and the reason I don't make fun of people for doing this is because at one point in my life, somebody had to teach me to use a spoon, so I can't be, too critical about people not being able to pick the right stream. So,
Jay, what did you think?
I loved it. I loved it. And Alberto, yes, I did like Supergirl. But this has been the best superhero movie I've seen in a couple of years now. And it cements the fact that the Spider-Man movies for me just keep getting better and better.
Up the air just turned on. It was really fun seeing it with a big crowd on opening night. I went with my cousin. We love seeing the Marvel movies together. It's one specific part, everyone was very reactive, and it's fun. It's fun to do that with people. Just enjoy a movie all at the same time, and it's fun. Like you said, it's like the Spider-Man seems to step it up like every movie, and I'm like, do I get am I on a personal level? Do I give this movie 4 stars? Even though maybe I have a couple tiny nitpicks with it. Is it more 3.5? But easily one of the best Marvel movies from the past few years, and I liked how mature it was. I know, I know a lot of people will be saying that, and sometimes what do you mean by mature? Well, the first trilogy we saw this Spider-Man, we saw him be a teenager, and we saw him, figure things out, screw up, and learn how to, take responsibility. I know we're probably gonna say that word a lot tonight. So seeing him, young adult Spider-Man, figuring out this new chapter in his life, it was great. Tom Holland did a great job.
Yeah, and I've told people this before. I don't usually rate trilogies and things like that, but for me, the movies, excluding this one, go 3, 2, 1. 3 is my favorite, and it's not just because of the nostalgia bait that's all throughout it. No Way Home feels like this Spider-Man's true origin story. It's, instead of Uncle Ben, it's Aunt May, and at the end of the movie, nobody knows who Peter Parker is. He has to make his own suit, and that suit that he has at the end of No Way Home is one of the best looking Spider-Man suits I've ever seen.
And his suit looks great in this movie.
Oh yeah, it does. It does.
And I think people appreciate it's a full-on Spider-Man story. He's on his own. I mean, which I understand.
Spidey's always the underdog.
I understand the criticisms, maybe there was too much Avengers stuff in the other movies, but I think they nailed the teenager aspect, wanting to be like these other heroes. But now he learning still learning how to be his own hero.
Yeah, and for me, Tom Holland, I've always said this as well. When it comes to the previous Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire to me was a great Peter Parker. His Spider-Man was okay. Andrew Garfield, on the other hand, his Spider-Man was, pun intended, amazing, but his Peter was a little too cool for me. Tom feels like that perfect blend of both Peter and Spider-Man. And the fact that we got him when he was about 18 or 19 years old, we can have him till he's 37. He's 30 right now. So he still has another few movies in him. So
yes, let's hope so at least. One of the best parts, or one of my favorite parts, was the opening sequence where if you see the trailer, it's not so spoilery, but they do it's a big love letter to Spider-Man comics, including the famous Amazing Fantasy cover. You see
everywhere.
Yes, everywhere, but they show. I wish I had the specific numbers wrote down, but I know fan pages have them easily listed. This cover is Spider-Man 236. But yeah, it's a lot of homages to the original comics, and that's something I've admired about Marvel. These past couple of phases, that they really go back to the source material and they're honoring the source material more and making things colorful and making things more accurate. And
well, you want to hear something funny? And this is online. Do you know how Marvel got back involved with the Spider-Man movies? Supposedly, Tom Holland got a little, we'll call it tipsy, one night.
I think I have heard this story.
And called Bob Iger to keep Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel involved. And that was something that ended up moving Disney. And they decided to do it. And, you could say Tom Holland really did a great job of making sure that the tapestry, the webbing, so to speak, was always there. I think that when you look at it, now I haven't seen the movie, so, I only know what you guys have been saying and what everybody else has been saying. Because I'm an old man, hard to sit 2.5 hours through a movie. But one of the things that you can look at is when the actors are promoting the movie, they're doing it with the same energy and excitement that they did with the first movie, before it became a hit. Mm-hmm. You're not seeing a bunch of actors that you feel almost like, oh my God, they're getting bored of this, And it's hard to believe that it's been 5 years since the last one.
That is crazy.
And listen, that last movie was so big. And believe it or not, you have no idea how many of my friends got COVID from going to see that movie. That was the first movie during COVID that was back again.
I remember.
Yeah. It was Spidey was a super spreader. So, but that just shows you the power of these movies and of Spider-Man and how well they're doing and how they're really reaching into the nostalgia and grabbing your imagination, that in the middle of COVID, when people weren't going, the movies were struggling. I mean, even Tenet struggled. You had a lot of struggling movies. Spider-Man brought in so many people, and the real big thing is, and again, this is from what I've read and everything else, my tipsy phone calls always ended in utter failures. One of the things that you look at, there was a lot of speculation whether or not this movie would have the same hype and excitement, because the last movie had all the other Spider-Men, had other stuff going on. So, yes, we have a guest. We wanted to do a warm-up. I think we went too long on the warm-up, though. All right, you know what, Jay? We've been doing a lot of talking. I think it's time to bring Mark on, because that's who everybody wants to see, Amy and Mark. But I think Amy wants me to do the show. So, Mark, how the heck are you?
Hey, guys. Good to be here. So, Nick, were you in San Diego last weekend?
I was not this year. I screwed up my knee. So I'm still doing, I'm going to use the word rehab. I'm still like just getting it fixed, PT. So I missed it this year. I would have loved to have been there. We had some great panels. And
to me, it's a social thing. That's the time for me to go face to face with people. I didn't see you.
Nah.
Yeah.
How you been, man? Hey, I saw pictures. What'd you think of the movie?
Fantastic. I mean, I had not high expectations. I mean, obviously it was getting pumped pretty high, but right. I go to these movies for entertainment value, and I figured that I would be entertained. I actually really wanted to see it, but it far surpassed my expectations.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Jay, pop on some pictures of Mark and Steve. I think, I asked Mark for some photos. I think they're just some, when I can't remember if it was when your uncle passed away or later, because your uncle was a very straightforward person, and you were like, this is the Uncle Steve I know. Yeah. And I've got a few Steve Ditko stories, and I will say they're all cool. So we'll get to those in a few minutes. But Jay, can you pop those on? And
where would I find them?
Yep. And while Jay's doing that, that's got to be like the biggest thing for everybody in your family, that the movies just are taking the essence of everything that came before, and you're seeing it all done well. I think that,
does it mean a lot, like, to you and your family, like just seeing how Spider-Man is still going on after all these years after his debut?
Do you know what? I think about, okay, Spider-Man was and Doctor Strange was literally a 4-year stint in a 65-year career. So what I did on my San Diego Comic-Con panel was to show everything else that he did outside of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. But you can't deny Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, they're due. And it's funny because this shows you the level of, I'll say, professionalism, passion, commitment to the craft that he did when he invested in those first 3 years, that he built something that had legs that just keeps on going.
Well, the foundation of what he built, and a lot of people, for example, think that those 3 or 4 pages of Amazing Spider-Man 32, where he's under the rubble and he has to find his inner strength to lift everything, are not only for the best Steve Ditko Spider-Man pages ever, not only for the best Spider-Man pages ever, but for the best comic pages ever. Like seeing that inner strength that he had to pull in, that desperation, but basically love, thinking of his Aunt May and everything to pull him out of it. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, when you look at the career of your uncle, I mean, Hawk and Dove, The Question, Mr. A,
Creeper, Squirrel Girl, on and on and on. It's all this Warren stuff. Yeah.
I think Speedball too. I seem to remember that.
Yep.
And and to a lot of people, he had a great run on Rom Space Knight.
Yeah,
People
right.
love that.
I mean, Stalker with Wally Wood. I mean, it was, yeah. But I gotta say though, this Marvel movie was, amped up in some of the family's world, because Marvel, I'll tell you what, they take care of us. I'm saying, I'm throwing that out there, because I mean, I could probably talk about this now. The movie's out, but in the end of October, Marvel, called me up and said, "Hey, Mark, we want to have you and whoever else you want to bring on the Spider-Man 4 set, in London." And they took us out there, me and Joanna, my sister, and my wife, and we were on set. Tom Holland, I mean, you mentioned it. I can't praise that guy enough. He said, we were talking to him, and Kevin Feige was there, and the director, and Tom says, you know what? He is really trying to do it justice. And he continues to be very passionate about the character. You could hear it in his voice. So yeah, he is, to me, just say, just because of his most recent run, especially this movie, he's portraying it the way it needs to be. And he really means it. He wants it.
That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. I mean, and that is really kind of Marvel and Disney to fly you out there to be a part of it, to be part of everything as it's happening,
Yeah.
Not just the red carpet, not just once the movie hits, just to give back. And that's got to be the sweetest thing. I think that that may not have been the case years ago.
Oh no! In fact, as soon as we touched down, and it was David Bogart. Props to David Bogart and CB and Nick Lowe, those guys. And I said, first time I saw him, I was just like, why? Why did you fly us all out here and wine and dine, all this stuff? And David said it's because it should have been done and wasn't done, and they have the opportunity, so they're doing it. So
David is the best, and CB and Nick Lowe are fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
David is really a lot of the glue at Marvel right now, because he's got so many hats and has to keep so many things together with talent relations and contracts and everything else. And he's a really good guy. I've known David for probably 30 years, from when he was doing Barbarella and at Harris Publications. And I'm just glad he's so successful right now. And he's earned it.
Hey, just a comment about Spider-Man and sort of what makes him kind of iconic. This is another thing. You know what? My uncle would just roll in his grave, but I get a lot of perks just because of my name. So we got brought into the Marvel, one of the panels down in San Diego, and Nick Lowe and Chip and all the artists that were kind of involved in kind of the new titles. And they were talking about Spider-Man. And I think it was Chip that said, and Nick Lowe just repeated it, is the mantra of really what makes Spider-Man is can't but must. And that really comes across.
That's actually a great mantra. That is a fantastic mantra, because that really is everything about Spider-Man. That's everything about Peter Parker, I should say.
Yeah.
Too. Can't but must. The thing about your uncle, when it's so funny, because your uncle was pretty reclusive. He kept, he was very straightforward, matter-of-fact person, but reclusive, didn't care about getting attention or anything like that. And there was always all these rumors swirling about, Steve left because Stan wanted Norman Osborn to be the Green Goblin.
Classic.
But Steve said it should be somebody unknown. And then you read one of the few interviews that Steve did, and he's like, no, I put Norman Osborn in Amazing Spider-Man 23.
Yeah.
He was there at the supper club with J. Jonah Jameson. He's like, I always wanted him to be the Green Goblin. one of the things that, you know, and your uncle just had such a diverse talent. I mean, like The Question was a softer Mr. A.
Yep.
Peter Parker, you know, was different than Doctor Strange. Like
Blue Beetle, you know, Captain Atom. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's Captain Atom. Oh my God, it's Captain Atom. It's so friggin' awesome.
And then even the pre-hero stuff they did at Marvel, those 5-pagers, little twisty story endings, those sort of Twilight Zone-ish kind of things. Unbelievable stuff. Those splash pages to me still blow my mind.
They're out of this world. From what I can remember, and Jay, just let us know when you have the photos. This way you can just jump in. But as far as I can remember, the first comic book I read was one of those black and white pocketbooks that had Amazing Spider-Man number 10 in it. It had a couple of Amazing Spider-Mans. Okay, you got 3? Let's show them before I continue to talk, because I'd rather people see this because it's so cool.
Flipping burgers. He was a fun uncle. He just like everybody else. I mean, all my relatives were great, but boy, he was just one of the gang.
My favorite is because that's my favorite shot. That is my favorite shot because I remember your posting saying this is the Uncle Steve Ditko I grew up with.
Yeah,
and because you were living in Pittsburgh, right?
Johnstown, outside of Pittsburgh, about an hour from Pittsburgh, Johnstown. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just remember seeing these photos of you and him, and I was like, I really wish I'd met him. I came close, and I'll probably get to that story in a few minutes. But I think to a degree, as far as I can remember, the first comic book I read was Steve Ditko comic with Amazing Spider-Man. And Jay, pop up the Amazing Spider-Man 10 page that I have, and the pocketbooks that I sent you. So these were little itty bitty black and white books.
Oh yeah.
So, and I must have been maybe 5 years old, and my friend Hercule, I mean you would call him Hercules in American. He had this, his brother had this, and I read it front to back, and I always remembered the big man story. The one thing I want to get to, if you look at this page of original art, look at the subtle changes in Aunt May from when looks like she's dying, where she's really, really ill, to after she gets the blood transfusion. Look at the way from panel to panel, how her smile and her facial features, they're subtle, but they get happier a little bit at a time.
Oh, that was intentional. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
I'm saying 100% was intentional.
Yeah.
But it's so subtle.
That's what he did.
It's subconscious unless you really focus on it. And
you pick it up anyway. You'd catch it, but maybe not know what you're catching. But it really shows the story.
Exactly. And there are artists, I shouldn't say a lot. There are artists that might oversell it, where you see her more sick in bed, and then like a lot better when she's talking to Peter, and then like elated. But the thing that Steve was great at was he had a distinctive style, but he made it look real. Like this is the way it would happen. And that was one of the things that he was great at. I mean, his facial features are just out of this world. Yeah. Two of my favorite artists that have distinct facial features are Steve and Jim Aparo. Like, you know a Jim Aparo face when you see it, you know? So I read Spidey on those pocketbooks too. Oh, that's awesome, Mark. So the Thing 15 is one of my favorite covers of your uncle's early 50s.
Oh, there
That's
you go.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, look, the influence that your uncle had, the stories that he created, you know, I mean, you know, even when he was an inker, like he inked Jack Kirby on Strange Tales Annual 2, the Spider-Man Human Torch issue, and you could see the best of both worlds in there. But this was so. What happened was, this is somewhat, I don't want to say a funny story, an interesting story. So I'm 57 now. So about 12 years ago, Pam came to the office, my fiance, and she had to talk to me. And I said, "What's going on that you had to come here to the office?" And she said, "Hurt died." Now, Pam does animal rescue. So, like, my head's like, which cat, which rescue cat are you? I'm not even, I'm like dazed. Like, what are you talking about? And she grabbed me by the arm and said, "Your best friend from grade school died." I was like, "What are you talking about? He's only 45. He had a heart attack in the garage." And I made it a mission to get a paid trip, issue 10 at that point, and I finally got one. It was a little bit of a paying forward story. I sold something, and then this came up, and I ended up getting it in the budget that I could afford. So,
wow.
But yeah, you can blame your uncle for
Yeah.
being one of the first people to get me into comics. And I was buying comics 3 for 15 cents with the covers ripped off, because the newsstand distributors would return the comics to the distributors, but then the distributors would rip the covers off, send it back to the publisher for credit, and put 3 comics in a bag and sell them to the candy stores. And then Pope John Paul II, when I was 12 years old or 13 years old, they handed that out in school. And I was like, finally, a comic with a cover.
Wow.
That's what it feels like to have one with a front cover. You know? Because I saw the front covers in the ads. They were there. But yeah, so like your uncle introduced me to comics, and Stephen Grant, John Tartaleone, and Joe Sinnott got me more hooked. The other thing is, like I said, your uncle was always very straightforward but polite. I sent him a letter once asking him if he would want to draw some lithographs, and I sent him samples of the lithographs, and he wrote me back and said, but you know what, before I get into that, no. Before I get to the lithographs, in like 1992, 93, it was 93, I called him. We were doing a lot of QVC, a lot of Home Shopping Network, and not as familiar with the backstory at that point, right? Like, not familiar with like how he wouldn't touch Spider-Man anymore, anything. And I called him and asked him if he would sign copies of comics so that we could put them on QVC.
Wow.
And he politely said, "Thank you, but no thank you. I don't think a man should make money signing his name."
Wow.
And that was it. He was like, you know, he didn't hang up or anything. He was just like, that was it. And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I appreciate you taking the call." He said, "No problem." Then he hung up.
Wow. Wow. That's a good story. I mean, I've never heard that someone actually approached him to do something like that. That's
yeah, no, I mean, you know, I can't remember if he actually asked what it would entail. I think he had a little bit of curiosity, but it was, no, I don't think somebody should make money signing their name.
Well, what I wrote to him when I was writing back and forth to him, I think it was probably early 90s. We would talk about what he was doing and things like that. I would go to comic conventions and I would relay messages from Jack Kirby or Stan Lee or something to him. And he was telling me he was working on this Star Wars card and for Topps. And he said, I just got done signing my name 250 times on this card. He said, had I known that I had to do that, he goes, I wouldn't have taken the job. So, so then me being me, I write him back and I sign my name at the end of my letter 250 times.
That's awesome.
Just to see what it was like. But he was, I mean, when I would go into Johnstown, if I was taking comics and asked him to sign it, he would sign it. We're family. It's a little bit different. And there's a smattering of signed comics out there, but it wasn't something that he was that interested in doing.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. He, like I said, he was a straightforward person, you know? I mean, there were things that were just black and white in his life. That's it. Like,
hey, but you know what? One thing I always try to get across is, and I sort of always frame it this way. Both of my grandparents were really either from kids or came from Slovakia. So both of my parents, both sides, were raised from Slovakian farmers. So my parents, my uncle, my dad, my mom, they were all pretty much, you could consider them first generation Americans. So they had the mentality of put your head down and work, because if you're a Slovakian farmer, you're getting up in the morning, you're going to work. You're not trying to be a celebrity. You're not trying to be a star. You're not trying to be, you got to get the job done. So that is the way I was raised. And that's the way he was raised from his parents, who like literally were boots on the ground in Slovakia kind of a thing. So that's why he had this, not a reclusive perspective. I really don't like that word. He was just, he was a guy that was not interested in what everybody else thought. He would help people where he could, but he was just there to just be a professional at whatever he was doing, and pay the bills, just trying to live. So,
well, I mean, look, it's gotta be, look, I consider the other creator in comics who it's hard to imagine being a superstar where everybody wants you to talk to you about a few select things, because everybody would want to talk about Spider-Man or Doctor Strange and or his career, and he's probably like, Jesus Christ, how many times do I need to talk about it?
I'm not a one-hit wonder. Yeah,
if that's all anybody wants to talk about, of course it could come across as being reclusive. But like Alan Moore, after Watchmen came out, went to San Diego Comic-Con, and like he could not get away from the crowds, no matter where he went. Like he even tried to go down the back stairs at one point. People would follow him. He's like, I couldn't even go to the bathroom. I would have to go back to my hotel room to go to the bathroom because people would bother me in the bathroom. He's like, I'm never doing another convention again. And that's, the kind of thing where I have to imagine it's really, really tough. I will say, before I get to the lithograph and cover story, I was sitting with a very popular writer-artist. Oh, man, I'll just say it. Frank Miller was signing Spawn Batmans. We were in LA. We were at the Roosevelt Hotel, and he's signing Spawn Batmans, and Frank's one of my heroes. I mean,
I love Frank. You know what? I first met Frank out in London, and we've been connecting up ever since. Every time he comes out here, so I gotta say, I love Frank.
Oh, he's a sweetheart. He's an absolute sweetheart. And so we're sitting there talking, and we're just, shooting the, And I was telling him the story about your uncle. I was like, because Frank said, like, he literally just said, like, has anybody ever turned you down for signings? I said, well, actually, 2 Spider-Man artists have. Todd McFarlane, because Todd's like, I'm doing Spawn now. I don't do commercial signing for any other characters. And I said, Steve Ditko. And we started talking about both of our love for Steve Ditko. And he's like, what I would like to do one day is write a Mr. A story that Steve would draw. I was like, wow. Yeah. I was like, who would publish it? He's like, Nick, if I would write something that Steve would draw, anybody would publish it. I was like, you're right. And he wasn't saying it in a cocky way. It was just self-assured. You know what I mean? Like,
I've heard that story. I've heard that he wanted to do that. Yeah.
Oh, he was dying to do that. This is like, after after Sin City, I mean, he may have done Lance Blastoff at this point, the one-shot
Like,
sniper.
I'm gonna let you guys. I'm gonna let you guys keep going. I'm gonna step out. Okay.
Oh yeah, everybody hit the thumbs up. I'm like spending so much time jibber jabbering. I forgot to ask everybody to hit the thumbs up. Do it for Mark and Amy, not for me. But yeah, he was just like the excitement in his face, you know, because like Frank was doing whatever he wanted at that point. On Batman, Daredevil, Man Without Fear. I mean, Frank single-handedly stopped John Romita Jr. from leaving comics. John was fed up with comics, was getting out of comics, and Ralph Macchio ran into him in the hall and said, well, we're doing the Daredevil Man Without Fear that Frank Miller's writing. Do you want to draw it? And John was like, you picked the one character with the one creator that makes me want to stay. Thanks, Amy.
Wow.
And because John Romita Jr., the reason why he started drawing, his father had the cover to Daredevil 13 on the wall when he was drawing Daredevil 15. And John Jr. was like sitting in his lap watching his dad draw it. And that's what made him become an artist. So he's like, Frank Miller, greatest Daredevil writer. Okay, I'll do that. And he saved him. But the other thing about your uncle, so I wrote him a letter once about doing lithographs. And maybe I made a mistake. I sent him some Alex Ross lithographs to look at. And he sends me a polite letter, and he said, trying to remember it, I'll distill it, but, you know, it was not a short letter, but it was not a long letter either. It was a well-thought-out letter. How about I say it like that?
That's him.
It was a well-thought-out letter, and he said, you know, he's like, thank you for sending these. This is more than I needed. I only needed a few. You didn't need to send me 20 because I was like, let me just send him a bunch, you know, like let him look. And I felt like at one point he might have wanted to write, now what am I going to do with these?
Yeah.
And he just said, the problem I see here is that the problem I see with many modern artists today, there's no focus. You put so much onto each lithograph when everything is the focus, nothing's the focus. And so this isn't something I would like to do. So a couple of years later, I write him again because now we're publishing. So now, because we went from signed comics to signed comics and trading cards, action figures, statues, lithographs, collector plates. And then eventually we got to start doing signed books. I mean, publishing comics under Dynamite. And I sent him another letter because you know me, I'm hard-headed. And I sent him some comics, but this time I sent him comics without too many characters on the covers. I was like, I'm learning from my mistake. I'm not sending that. Oh, by the way, both times, let me add one thing. He put his phone number and his address at the bottom. And I'm like, oh, don't do it, Nick. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And so, because he lived on Broadway, like not far from DC Comics.
Yeah.
And the second time he wrote back and he said, these are really nice, and I'm glad that so he remembered the lithographs. He's like, I'm glad these aren't as not over action or over rendered, over something, over complicated. These are definitely better covers where you can focus, but the colors are too bright, and I've got other things that I'm doing. So thank you very much. And again, his phone number and email's at the bottom. I'm like, not email, his phone number and address. I'm like, oh my God, don't do it, Nick, don't do it. And then I saw that stupid, I'm sorry, I don't mean it like that. I was stupid. Then I saw the video of Looking for Ditko and Neil Gaiman and Jonathan showing up at the house. And I had a meeting with DC a few months later. And I'm like, don't just show up like they did. So I called. I was across the street. And, you know, I always say the two people I wish I would have met that I never got to meet were Joe Shuster and Steve Ditko.
Wow.
And I called him and said, "Would you mind if I came over?" And it felt like he was about to say like something like, "Everybody's calling me to," but like I was like, "I'm not just going to show up." And he was like, "Look, would you want anybody to just show up at your doorstep out of the blue?" And I said, "No, I understand, but thank you for being so kind." And it was and he kind of said something like, "Why wouldn't I be?" It was like, it's like, he's like, and he ended it with, "Thank you for respecting my wish."
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the people that I talked to that have met him just walked to his door and knocked and did disrupt him. I mean, yeah. And ultimately, he didn't appreciate that. I mean, it's just he wrote me about that, and I've seen him letters about just being disrupted. That's why he liked to write letters, because he said, I didn't get disrupted by someone disrupting my work, knocking on my door.
Yeah. Now, to me, he was a gentleman. From the first time I called him to the only other time I called him, I was
Dean.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who has met him had a similar story.
Yeah.
Like, they want to talk about Spider-Man or Doctor Strange. Didn't want to talk about any of that. But he was polite, would give people signed comics.
Yeah.
And they would, and I was just like, I really want to tell him that he's the first person who got me into comics, but I get to tell you, so it feels like the same thing.
Yeah, you know what, Bob Burden, Flaming Carrot, he was saying about how he wanted to. Oh, actually, no, it was Stan Sakai. Stan Sakai said he always wanted to tell him what he meant to him, and then he gave me a quote for my panel that I put up on the screen. He goes, "Well, I'm telling everybody now. Everybody sees that. I didn't get a chance to tell Steve. I'm telling everybody. It's out there. I owe a lot to Steve Ditko." So even somebody like Stan Sakai just didn't get that opportunity. Some people just didn't. But you know what? I want to mention something before so I don't forget about it. We're talking about Spider-Man and the foundation that he laid. Have you read his 16 essays on Spider-Man?
I have not.
So he did a series called The Mini History, and he wrote 16 essays, almost 50 pages on what was occurring. What he did was, when he left Marvel in '66, he took notes about what had occurred during the creation and evolution of these issues, and then he got prompted. It's another story in the late '90s, '99, 2000, 2001, to write this series of essays about what actually happened. He was there, and I'll tell you what, you read those essays, and you will really see that the foundation that he laid versus his conversations with Stan, who wanted Spider-Girl in the second issue, or he wanted to make J. Jonah Jameson nicer, or he wanted to kill off Aunt May early on. So Stan throwing these sensationalism type scenarios out there, and they would have these conferences, and he just wouldn't do it. Or the next issue, he would make Joe Janet Jameson even meaner to Peter Parker. So you read these essays, and you start to understand why Stan stopped talking to him. Because and at that time, he said, it's the Robin Snyder. He was publishing that stuff through Robin Snyder. Somebody commented. But you start to understand why Stan said early on, "Oh, Steve Ditko thinks he's the genius of the world," because he took those reins. He mapped out future issues. He planted Norman Osborn and knew that 8 issues later he was going to reveal him or something. So he masterminded that. And those essays really give you a pretty interesting picture of what was actually happening
publishing
there.
The essays in the book?
Working on it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and then the other thing, just something I'm always on this mission to try to clear up things. Somebody posted a meme or a little video just the other day that said, Steve Ditko stopped talking to Stan Lee and his artwork really changed. It was like, no, Stan stopped talking to Steve. It was not the other way around, But anyway, those essays, I'm gonna send you those.
Please,
you
please,
read those. Eventually, we're going to get them out, in a published form with all the other stuff, all the other essays. But those, you really want to know a little inside scoop that people do not know, maybe a couple hundred people on the planet know. You read those essays and you'll just be like, wow.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I was always curious about one thing. So there was a couple of things where Marvel was playful. I don't remember when the Amazing Spider-Man annual came out, but you've got like the one Marvel record where they did the Marvel Marching Society, and and the elusive Steve Ditko is leaving out the window. But if you remember, in the back of I think it was Amazing Spider-Man #1, you have that like 2 or 3 page story where Steve calls Stan in the middle of the night, and he's like, "I got a great idea," and I was always curious, was this Steve's idea to have fun, like to write and draw that? I was always curious.
I don't know. I could only assume that that's, it was his idea for a little ad thing, because I can't imagine Stan scripting that or Stan putting that together. It was so funny. It spoke to me so much truth that I wonder who initiated that. I don't know.
I always had to think it was Steve, because it was basically confirming to the world, I'm coming up with these ideas, I call them up, and then I put it in motion.
So I don't know. There was a couple of those that he did he did one about with Stan. I think it was a little one of those 5-pagers pre-Marvel, the Marvel Hero stuff, where he was in the office with Stan and they were talking about ideas and they couldn't think. And then some guy, it was actually a alien or something, walks in. He says, "I have this idea," or something, and he comes out and walks. So there's a little story about sort of the creation of those stories between Stan and him. So I in fact, I collect times where he drew himself into stories that I don't know who initiates that stuff.
No, it was really cool reading that, and I just always, even as a younger person, when I read that, I found it to be fun. Like it was an insight of, oh wow, is this how writers and artists work? Like when I was in high school, I wanted to be a writer and an artist, but there were 2 things that stopped me. I sucked at both. So if only I could get good at writing or drawing, but I couldn't. So since I was terrible at both, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, we grew up drawing. All of us grew up drawing. We were always winning the poster contests and all this stuff. We grew up doing pen and ink and pastels and watercolor and all kinds of stuff like that. And then some of my family continued sort of on the art track, and I ended up going into the writing side. So I'm a writer.
Hey, it's creative no matter what.
Yeah.
So CJ has a question. I don't know that you would have the answer to this.
No, I don't know. I mean, only thing I could ever think of, again, I don't know. I'm a speculation that, he was on his way out the door and it was.
Maybe he drew the cover last. Maybe that was the last thing he would do.
I'm sure. And then, so I don't know why. Although I got to say I really like that cover. That 38 really is sort of special in my skull,
Yeah. No, I mean it's really cool. I'm sorry that I'm holding you longer than the 20 minutes that I said we would talk.
No, so here's this question. Was Peter Parker modeled on Steve? That's kind of interesting. That's another one that I love to debunk. So even my dad was like, "Oh, absolutely." He was writing about himself, and I've seen that over and over again. So probably about 8 years ago or 7 years ago, I looked at his yearbook and I looked at all the pictures of his sort of like classmates. And I have this picture, I should have sent it to you, a picture of like a dozen of his classmates and then a row of all Peter Parker. They all look like Peter Parker. All of them do. But my dad was convinced of that. So I found this letter that someone had written to him and said, did you model Peter Parker after yourself? It's a really short letter, 2 lines. And he says, no, I did not model Peter Parker after myself. That he just says it flat out. He was just creative. It's the classic, he must be on drugs if he's doing Doctor Strange. No,
Right.
He was very, very creative. He was a professional. He read a lot. He was educated. He was an intellectual. He just had a fantastic imagination. End of story.
One thing that I found amazing with his art, because I have a few pieces, and the art that he penciled in ink, when I got that page 10 because of my friend Hercule, no whiteout, no erasing, no nothing. It's like you look at it like you almost aren't even, not that you don't think it's real, but you're like, how is there no whiteout on this? How is there no correction, no nothing? It's perfect. And I opened it up and compared it to the Big Little Book. I'm like, it's as perfect here as it is there in black and white. I'm sorry, Big Little Book was the golden age stuff, the pocketbooks.
Yeah.
And I just, wow. I did get the first appearance of Norman Osborn when it came up for sale. A friend of mine, Glenn Brunswick, who panel page art, was selling it for somebody. Jay, do you have that handy by any chance?
Which one is that?
It's the one where J. Jonah Jameson is talking about how nice of a guy he is. It's not the Daredevil one. Not the Daredevil one. Yeah, Rob, we were talking about this earlier, Dar. Tom, I mean, we were talking about how for a lot of people, Rob was a big run for them with Steve. And Pete Greg Russell's inks were great. They just were.
Hey, so Nick, have you ever seen any of his Warren pages for real in the original art?
No,
oh my God. You would just freaking die. Those things. Now that's where he was doing, it's all ink wash, and he could see these just white, just like swirls. He's probably just dipping his hand in whiteout and just it's like making these this Warren stuff blows my mind. Looking at the original artwork.
Do you have any out of curiosity?
I have one page.
Okay.
But I just happened to see another story just a couple weeks ago. It was, oh my God, that stuff is, amazing.
Again, he had a knack for, I think the best way to describe it, he had a knack of how to go into the essence of the characters he was drawing. That's probably the best way to say it. That's how he made Doctor Strange, the question, Hawk and Dove, the Creeper, Spider-Man. He went in and thought it through and just went all in.
He was able to visualize the story, the tone, the emotion, the mood, and all that, and then be able to transfer that down onto paper and get other people to actually see that what was in his head.
Wow. Agreed. Jay, were you able to find it or no?
No,
we're being told to calm down also, Nick.
Oh, are we? Oh no, CJ's being told to calm down.
Oh, that's CJ. Okay.
Yeah, CJ. Oh. Tom's saying calm down, CJ.
Okay.
Jay, just pop up any of the art that you haven't showed yet, then I'll talk about it. I got a big mouth. I can keep going. I can roll with it. I may not be able to write or draw, but I can talk. I'll go back to, let's just see. Did everybody hit the thumbs up? The Spider-Man. All right. So what I really like about this page, outside of the fact that in the bottom left panel, you see Norman Osborn there on the side, kind of walking away while J. Jonah Jameson is talking. And then you see him right by the window in the back. What I really loved about this page is the goofy look on Peter Parker, forgetting that he didn't have his costume. But what really gets me is the way the Green Goblin flies in, talks to the mobster, and then is doing this like an evil genius. You know what I mean? He's like, perfect. You know, it's like that is so freaking fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it in that static image, literally. Yeah.
Yeah. and look at the two panels with J. Jonah Jameson. You got the left panel where he's being a braggart, you know, because he gave Fozzie, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy who was the big man in issue 10, a job when he got out of jail, and he talks about how kind-hearted he is, and you see his face with that fake niceness, and then the next page where he's being called by the office, he's like, they can't do anything without me. And all of a sudden he gets that upset look in his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I got really lucky when this became available. It was the right place, right time. But yeah, I mean, I can see why some people think maybe he modeled Peter Parker after himself. I mean, there's so few pictures of your uncle. I think you released more pictures than the world had. I think the only other really known picture is the picture of him in the army when he was in the military. You know, I think that's the only other one. But is that Marcus? Is that page the giveaway? No. I will be clear on this. That page is not the giveaway. You know, and I will say one other thing. Your uncle was the master of multi-panel pages. Oh. Like he didn't take an easy way out by like doing more splashes where it wasn't necessary. And I think that's where you could see Dave Gibbons was influenced by that. I'm pretty sure he was influenced by that because if you look at Watchmen, there's a lot of 9-panel pages in there. So funny thing is, no, it's not free with a $95,000 purchase either, Jay. Stop putting stuff out there that's not real. Alan Moore on Watchmen and the Charlton Comics. The reason why Watchmen was based on Charlton Comics was because, and I can't remember exactly how this worked, but back in the day, in the 60s, ocean liners that would go bringing freight from the U.S. to the UK, or overseas, period, they would put comics at the bottom, like to absorb any liquid or water or whatever.
Yeah, ballast. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you know about this.
Yeah. Yep.
And so they would unload them and I guess sell them. They would end up, and that's where Alan Moore first discovered Steve Ditko, and that's why the Watchmen were originally the Charlton characters. You know. Well,
I thought it was because that was the Charlton character rights issues that he couldn't use those characters directly like that, so we had to morph them in.
No, but what I'm saying is that was the inspiration because.
Right, yeah.
So this is what happened. DC had bought Charlton, everything except for Peter Cannon, because Pete Morisi kept Peter Cannon. But so he wanted to take the Charlton characters and put them in Watchmen. But Paul Levitt said, wait, I just spent all this money buying them. And then, you read the story and he's like, I'm not having Night Vale raped by Peacemaker, He's like, I'm not having Peter Cannon kill Peacemaker. He's like, I'm not having Captain Atom put a big squid in the middle of Times Square. So that's where he created the analogs of those characters, where the comedian was Peacemaker, Night Owl was the Blue Beetle. But the only thing I'm saying is because he read those comics, that's what made him want to use them in the Watchmen. I thought I was lucky the time I met him at San Diego, but this is on an absolute gem here. Oh, well, Mark's the best. He makes me sound good. No, but I did get one. My favorite two characters are Submariner and Daredevil at Marvel. So I was finally able to get a Daredevil page a few years ago. Jay, can you show that real quick? I have a couple of battles, no Steve. Pre-Marvel Atlas. Now, man, it's got to be really cool for you to see so much of your uncle's work, just the world really appreciate it and really know where it comes from.
But you know what, Nick, the times are changing, and I'm doing my part to try to bring more awareness to that. But look, you can't deny that these days there's more and more awareness is being made on what was going on in the 60s with what did Jack Kirby really do? What was Steve Ditko's real influence and all this stuff? The truth, and unfortunately it sometimes shines a bad light on Stan Lee, but it's there's still more and more I see as years go on, more information is being relayed, and I think there's a clearer and clearer picture of who was really maybe had more influence or was maybe more responsible for certain things. So I think that it's a sign of the times that I see.
It is. Jay, it's the one with Mr. Hyde. Daredevil's not on it, but Mr. Hyde's on it. So if you find it, then I can talk about it.
Okay, is it this one?
50-page That's the one. So Mr. Hyde was a Thor villain. It was Hyde and Cobra. But there's an issue of Spider-Man 231, 232 with Hyde wanting to kill Cobra. And just like those two issues made me a fan of Mr. Hyde. And your uncle only ever did 2 issues of Daredevil. I think it's 164.
I think it's 251. Right? Was it?
Couple. Only 235. I think it was around 235.
Oh, maybe.
And he did 1 issue in the middle of the Frank Miller run, and I was never able to get it. And when this became available, I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Even if Daredevil's not on it, at least Mr. Hyde is, And I think Klaus Janson may have inked this.
Oh.
Going back to the 50-page manifesto, was that part of where he had that page where he said the writer came up with Spider-Man and it's just words, then the artist comes up with Spider-Man?
No, that was a whole separate one with, I think it was creator rights or something like that, or some that was a whole nother essay. So I'll tell you what, we're going through his essays now. That book is probably going to be 500, 600 pages. He wrote a lot, and he did, and we're putting it in 2 different areas. We're doing is like he has written essays, and then he does what I call graphical essays, where it's just there's an image there, and the essay is sort of all part of that, integrated in it. So yeah, people, look, he said you know him by his art. He doesn't need to say and talk to people and shake hands stuff. He said just know him by his art. But what really needs to be added to that is know him by what he wrote himself.
Yeah.
So the more you read that, and I guess I was lucky. Okay, I grew up with him, but I started to write to him, and I got really familiar and comfortable with his writing. So I'm part of the Steve Ditko's letters group, among every other Steve Ditko group. But I love reading letters that he wrote to somebody else because it just, I don't know, it warms my heart, because I miss him. I miss the writing part to him. And so when I read letters that even he wrote to somebody else, it's like, wow, I feel like I'm getting another layer of him that I just hadn't seen before. No matter how short the letter is, it's his words. So at some point I would love to see, letters published, and maybe I'll publish the letters that he wrote me, kind of conversationally back and forth. But his essays, to me, I'll tell you what, his essays, if we could get that book out, we will. That's going to blow people's mind. That's going to tell people more about him than anything.
Kickstarter it. you need a hand, let me know. I'll be
well,
Kickstarter.
Yeah, we are working on it. We got plans. Yeah.
And I was wrong. Thank you, Peter. Peter corrected me. It was not Klaus Janson. It was Danny Bolanati. That's who finished. That's who did the inks and finishes. Yeah. Thank you, Peter. I really appreciate your correcting me. We got to get it right no matter what. But man, that is such a great page. I mean, you know, it's one of those times where Mr. Hyde, you know, is actually an intelligent person as opposed to the unintelligent person. Can you tell us what comic Daredevil? Oh, it's this one right here, 235, Kenneth. It's 235. Yeah, man. Look, you're always invited to come on the air. You don't have to come on, you know, you and I, you know, Facebook friends and everything. And we've met briefly, but I always like seeing your posts. I always like just seeing where everything's at. And I just thought everybody, you know, this show is a little bit sell, a little bit talking. I just thought everybody would have a kick out of meeting you, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry this went longer than the 20 minutes I asked you for.
No, it's fine. You know what? I can go on and on because if it's about my uncle, I love to share, you know? In fact, I'll my parting words, if we're kind of wrapping up this side of it, is, you know, everybody's kind of seen that picture, the pictures that kind of existed with him in the probably done by Eric Stanton, or, you know, the Stanton pictures of him in front of his desk with that think on his light, you know?
Yeah.
So when we went to clean out his studio, he didn't have that think on there, but he had an index card propped up on his desk, and it said, "Never give up." So here's a guy in his 90s, and that's his mantra. So I would leave everybody with that. You know, if there's a parting thought, you know, from Steve Ditko, is just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Never give up.
I want to ask you a question. Maybe it's a trite question, but I want to ask you, on a couple of levels, do you have a favorite Steve Ditko character? I know that's a hard question to ask. It's a hard question to answer.
You know what? It to me, it's the way that I would look at the character. So I've always had a very strong affinity or likeness to Doctor Strange because that was his. Right. He created that. So there's to me, I've always had historically a love of that character. But Mr. A was his baby. That was his favorite character that he wrote to me and said he loved doing it him in the past. He loved doing him in the present, and he wanted to see him in the future. So I have to, because I'm not speaking from, I'm not myself when I'm here. I'm trying to represent my uncle, you know? Right. So to me, I have to have there's an innate natural, you know, interest and love of Mr. A, because because he liked it. He loved it, not liked it. But other characters, you know, in their own way, I love the Creeper. I just think the Creeper is just a wild character. You know, I gotta love Spider-Man because of what Marvel is doing with Spider-Man. Yeah. I like Spider-Man to the degree that I love Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. I love a lot of the stuff that they're doing now with Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man through the ages, you know. So, but I'll cap it with this. Artistically, right now, these days, I'm in love with his Warren, creepy, eerie work, and it's not a character; it's the style.
It's just the style.
Oh my God, yeah. I am just over the moon with that stuff when I see it. You know, so that to me is the passion. But you know, he was sending me his comics, his file copies through the 90s when we were writing. So one day I have like a long box of just his pre-Marvel stuff. and he just tore out the pages that his 5-pager. So they're in a bag, and all you see when you pull the bag out is the splash page. And I was just like, I had it on my ping pong table, all these splash pages, and I was just sitting there staring at these splash pages for that pre-Marvel stuff, or the pre-Marvel hero stuff. Those splash pages are just, they tell a story all by themselves. So, yeah, I guess.
No, that's cool. Listen,
Yeah.
it's hard because
It's hard.
Here's the thing: he's done so much.
Yeah.
He's done far more than a lot of people are aware of. So I was just curious. Like I said, it could be a trite, stupid question that people are like, "So who's your favorite kid?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah.
I will say though, I mean, look, you and I have corresponded about Mr. A for a few years. So obviously that Frank Miller conversation has stayed in my head for over 30 years. Like,
no, I've talked to Frank about it.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
there's that.
It's
I know.
You know.
I know.
So you know my desire, and you know, I've got a bunch of your uncle's zines. Those are fun to look at and read too. You know.
Yeah.
It's like he kept, you know what? He kept active, one way or the other.
He kept active. Yep. Absolutely. He loved what he did, and he did it his entire life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, congrats, man. I'm glad that not only is Marvel keeping his name and his legacy where it should be, front and center, but that was really heartwarming to hear that they took care of you guys, flew you out there, and you know, hopefully taking care of you on every level. And it's a good team over there, and I'm just glad. And I'm glad that they're doing a great job. You know, I thought their Doctor Strange movie, that Doctor Strange movie, the first one, was fantastic.
I like it. You know what? To me, it's a lot about entertainment, and boy, I'm entertained. You know. Hey, one other thing is next year is his centennial, 2027. He was born in 1927, so 2027 we're having our Ditko Comic Con in Johnstown. Strictly Ditko. The last weekend in September, the Saturday and Sunday. So next year, September, last weekend in September, I think it was 24th to 25th or 25th to 26th, something like that. Big centennial. So if anybody can get out there, that would be the one. We do it every 2 years.
Well, A, you're invited to come on the show anytime you want. But B, let's just make sure you come on the show like in May of next year at the latest. So you give everybody a few months to plan. While it would be cool for you to come on the air in August again, you're giving everybody like 40 days.
Yeah, right.
Like come on in May when there's less convention craziness at Johnston, Pennsylvania.
Johnstown, Pennsylvania, right outside of Pittsburgh. Yep.
So, but yeah, you know, come on in May if no other time, and tell everybody. And you know, and you're also in the Original Art Experience Facebook page, so feel free to post anything you want. You know, we're up to 8,100 members, which is amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
The that page has really popped. I mean, the page is over 5 years old at this point, or it is 5 years old. And I didn't really put any focus on it till early this year. And I was putting some art in there, and I was like, you know, this can't be just me. So I like contacted like Alberto Gonzalez and James Siegel and a few people. I was like, can you guys post some stuff so it's not just me?
Yeah.
And then they started posting. And then, you know, at the end of June, it started to just pop. We had less than, we had maybe 3,200 or 3,300 members, which I thought was great. And somehow from the end of June, beginning of July till now, we're up to 8,100 members.
Wow. That is crazy growth.
Isn't it? We're very, very
That's
blessed.
awesome.
So anytime you want to post anything,
Yeah.
feel free, have fun with it. Start posting about the convention. Drop a reminder once a month. Feel free.
Okay, I'll do that.
Brother, thank
All
you
right.
for everything. Thank you for giving us your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to end this with one thing. Guys, if you haven't picked it up yet, Skybound, Act 4, Steve Ditko, Artist Edition.
Yep.
Check it out.
Yep.
Scott.
All right, Nick. Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, man.
It was fun.
Take care, brother.
Okay.
Enjoy the weekend.
You too.
All right, guys. Oh, man. What's that? How's that song go? You talk too much, you never shut up. I think that's me. Was that the Beastie Boys or was that Run DMC?
Not familiar with that, but Nick, that was awesome. I don't know how we're going to follow that up.
Well, mic drop. Call it a day. Hold on a second. Let's see. I'm going to just pull it up. Song You Talk Too Much. You Never Shut Up. Run DMC. Before your time, Jay. Before your time.
No, I know who Run DMC is. I'm born in '82.
Oh, I know you know who they are. I'm just saying the song is before your time. Before you really started listening. Wow. We know everybody was here for Amy and Mark because ever since Amy and Mark left, we dropped down to 43 people watching.
I got 50 on my side.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you looking at both platforms?
So this gives me three platforms. We got 49 on YouTube, one on Twitch, one on Facebook.
Nice. All right, cool. Guys, please hit that thumbs up. Hey, Amy, where does this go? I don't want to misplace it. Why doesn't Vampirella have a bat tattoo on her chest in Dynamite Comics? If you got an image of it, Triple B, let us know. I don't know where that goes. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'll misplace it and then everybody. Jerry, hey man. We have not offered anything for sale yet. We have been we've been chilling and talking. We had comic book royalty on the air. Mark Zen Ditko. And I surprised everybody because I asked Amy and Jay to warm everybody up, get some people in here, talk about the movie, and everybody just assumed I wasn't here. So I had to make sure everybody knew I was actually here. So, but we have not offered anything for sale yet. I tell you what, let's ask the audience. Do you guys want to, now that Corey's going, can you sell schematics of Vampirella? No, I can't. Marcus, I can't. Do you guys? Yeah, it was. You know what? I was thinking about it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure a lot of people want to bug him because he's active. He's active in the industry. I was like, you know what, Nick? Just ask him. Get yourself a set of you know what, and just ask him if he'd like to come on the air. And he said yes right away. Unknown. So Top Cow is doing Witchblade Vampirella in August, and we're doing Vampirella Witchblade in September. So we're both putting out one shots, and we're both having fun with it. Jesus. So does he sign stuff? I don't know. I never asked him. All right, guys. Should I start putting stuff up for sale, or should we call it a night? What do you guys want to do? I can do either. You guys have been patient. This was a lot of fun. We're going to do a giveaway. I got to figure out what it is. So, you're welcome, Unknown. Sell me stuff. Okay. Let's start with Spidey Man. Spider-Man number 7, page 12. Let's start with J. Jonah Jameson. Sticky rice. All right, because you guys have been patient, I'm going to drop this to $225. Just give away somewhere. Nah. Marcus wants me to just give away art, not to sell anything. Sell us.
Please write down everything, everyone. If you're buying something, fill out a form.
I tell you what, let me go figure out a giveaway and just remind everybody to say goodbye, and let me go get a giveaway.
But yeah, guys, if you're gonna get something, please fill out the form because again, still sometimes I don't get any info, and it's like, what? Who do I send this to? You know what I mean? If something gets claimed, you gotta pay for it, and you gotta, or again, if I don't get your info, I can't invoice you, and you can't get your stuff. Okay. So
Yeah, Amy's gonna start sending it to me, folks. If you don't fill out your form, the form is in the description of the video. So just in case you miss it during the show, you can always go to the video description, and the link is right there. Please fill it out. Make Amy's job so much easier.
Yeah, let's keep Amy awesome, and let's not get her to be upset or angry.
Nick, please write stuff down.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Have a great rest of your night.
There's a reason why we're going to have a T-shirt that says "Amy's the boss." Let me just we'll leave it at that.
Like 6 years. Where is it?
You know what? You're a creative. Design it.
Or what?
Look, see if it was made. Otherwise, design it. Jay, you want to help Amy design Amy's the Boss shirt?
Yeah, I can give it a shot.
We'll give away this Spider-Man page. Talk about never give up. This is a perfect never give up Spider-Man page. This was not being offered for sale tonight, so we'll do this as a giveaway. Never give up. All right, so Amy always on time. She should be the boss. All right, come on. Let's move, guys. All right, so we got this. I brought it down to 2.25. Let's go to page 13. I love that, CJ. EXP Mark Ditko. The shortest hashtag I've ever agreed to. Oh, Jay, do we want to do EXP Mark Ditko or hashtag never give up? Which do you prefer?
Oh my goodness, that is. Oh, that's a tough one. But everybody's already going with Mark Ditko.
Mark Ditko. Yeah. Should start with the cheaper art first. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do here. All right. Keep in mind this is blue line pencils. Okay. I'm going to drop this to $700. $700. Take care, Amy. Have a great weekend. Guys, double page spread, $700. We're going to be booking through this. We got a giveaway that really rocks. Let's go. Double page spread. Nick gives away. No, I don't, Peter Rowe. No, I don't. EXP Nick Barucci. Hey, how you doing, Rich? Good to see you. Becky Babe, hey, how are you? Come on, guys, 700. Let's do this. All right, let's go to page 15. Page 15. All right, I'll drop this to 350. 350. It's a really good page. Hello. Come on, guys. Tell you what. We get to 70 likes. I got something else to give away that you guys will be happy with. And look at this battle page. 62 Lefty Blues. Oh my God, it's been so long since I've seen you. How are you? Nice. All right, Jay, come on. Let's go to page 17. We go from 15 to 17. Yes, Marty, these are Blue Line pencils, inks by Scott Hanna. And they are, no, none of them are Ditko pages, but they are the published pages. All right. This is another great one. Let's drop this to $350 for everybody's patience tonight. It was a fun interview. I really like Mark. He's a really nice guy. All the people that Nick Ditko page could feed. That's cute. Everything's starting at 12 cents. All right, what else we got? Page 19. That is one hell of a page. I'll drop this to $350 as well. Oh, excuse me. I'm a little bit on the tired side. How many likes do we have? Going to be doing some giveaway, guys. Let's get to 70 likes. The giveaways will get better. Well, I mean, they're cool. The one that we have is good. Can't but must give them. No, I can't. I'm stopping with can't. Kenneth, you forgot the O. It's EXP Mark Ditko. You just write. You forgot the O. Are we boring you, Nick? No. No. Getting here on time wasn't easy. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I'm not. Hey, we took one step forward in the whole diamond situation. Well, the judge still has to sign off on it. It's public info. We signed off on everything with the executor. Now we've got the other hard part, which is actually getting the product back. But one step at a time. Nick's idea. Now you get 100 entries for the art. If we got 100 likes, you guys will love it. All right, let's go to the covers. All right, let's do the Punisher versus Spider-Man cover. And guys, it doesn't matter whatever the price. It could be $100 for a piece of art. It could be $1,000. It could be $8,000. Remember, time payments are fine. 20% down. The rest within 30, 60, 90 days. If you go 60, just put in another deposit at 30. If you go 90, put in another deposit at 30 and 60.
Yes, I'm sorry I missed the no, Alberto. Good catch.
That's supposed to be $10 million. You ever watch Entourage?
Way back in the day.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. That's supposed to be 100,000, Alberto. There's a scene where they're in Vegas and Seth Green is there, and he's starting a fight, and Ari says to him something like whatever, like, he makes fun of that, and Seth Green goes, "That's funny, that pinky got me a home in Malibu," and Ari goes, "Malibu." Jeff Hill takes 19. All right, Jeff, what did we do that at, Jay?
Page 19 was at $350.
All right, Jeff. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Great page. Great page. All right, guys, this is Mark Bagley, Pencils and Inks. Beautiful. Mark has been inking himself. He just is enjoying it. He's not doing interior pages that much anymore unless it's really special. He's just, at that point in his career. I mean, he's been drawing comics for 35 years. And I got to tell you, still as great as he's always been, and one of the definitive Spider-Man artists. So, and with Spidey and Punisher in the movie, great opportunity. All right, let's do Wolverine number 25, Wolverine and Mary Jane.
So same issue with this one, folks. I missed the hero.
$10,000, guys. There is no room in the safe. It's full of art. Guys, classic Todd McFarlane homage. Wolverine, Mary Jane Watson. You don't see Wolverine with Mary Jane Watson often for a lot of reasons because, well, there are hardly any stories with the two of them together.
I fixed it while Nick was talking, Alberto. I fixed it.
You the man. Just leave the decimals out and it'll be easier. So, guys, this is, Alberto, you need to get a Mary Jane in your life. You've got a Gwen Stacy. Oh, man. The SRP just increased. I'm getting flashbacks. List showing a dueling dealers kept up and prices been around. Oh, man. My high blood pressure pill. Fish oil. All right, let's go to the John Romita Jr. Never give up. Never surrender. Amazing Spider-Man 21. I don't know if you guys have noticed, company policy forbids cheating.
But I didn't fix this one.
So I thought, Nick, there was going to be some Mannix for sale today. There would be, but Jiggy's package did not show up. So, look, guys, it's a gorgeous cover. I mean, it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Week after next, should definitely have them in hand. I don't want to say next week because what if I don't have them? But week after next, I'm pretty comfortable I'll have it by then. I don't know if you guys noticed, John's doing less work. He's doing more traveling with the family, more conventions. He did some covers to Amazing Spider-Man 1000, but he did not draw any interior pages. So he's enjoying more of life, drawing less. So there are fewer and fewer opportunities to get his art. This is a great cover. And, now that I think about it, it does make me think of Amazing Spider-Man 32 with Spidey in the sewers. So it's just beautiful. Again, if you need to make time payments, 20% down. The rest in 30 days. If you need 60, just give me a little bit more money at the 30 mark. If you need 90, give me a little bit more money at the 30 and 60 mark. That was 33, not 32. Thank you, Jerry Bourne. I always encourage you guys to correct me when I have it wrong. I absolutely encourage you guys to correct me because we got to give everybody the right information. So, because somebody might hear me talk and start looking for it, and then they can't find it. It started in 32. Thanks, CJ. Oh, the cover. Wait, this cover is Amazing Spider-Man 32? All right, well, no one get up. The correct price won't come. You're going to give me a heart attack, don't you? You're going to give me a heart attack. Don't forget, guys, we're doing a cool giveaway. 51 likes, guys. 19 more likes to additional giveaways. Amazing Spider-Man 21. Oh, I'm so confused at this point. Yeah, okay, so you're talking about the other thing. This is Amazing Spider-Man 21. All right. You know what, Jay? I did a little bit of a break on everything else. Why don't we do a break here? Let's drop this to 7,000. You know what? Is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop all ASM cover was John's dad in the sewer. Yeah. All right, so I'm dropping all three covers to 7,000 because I'm a simple person. Need to keep it simple. So 7,000 each cover. No, it's not from Amazing Spider-Man #8, Mark Fung. I did get your email, Mark. I'm going to follow up for you, buddy. I'm absolutely going to follow up for you. So let's go back to the other two covers, Jay. Since we're dropping them all to 7,000. That was really cool having Mark Ditko on the air. It was really nice of him to stay on for longer than 20 minutes. They are all traditional, Michael. They're all traditional. All three. Art is more than the movies. So, guys, 51 likes, 56 people watching. We should be at 70. Remember, we're giving this away today. All right. Look at that. Talking about never give up. All right. So, ow. Yeah. Hurt my shoulder. So, let's show the other. There we go, buddy. Spider-Man and the Punisher. If you're a Punisher fan, this is a great time to jump on it. All right. I've got the thumbnails for spectacular. Okay. And we're bringing this down to 7,000 as well. This is a steal. Wolverine and Mary Jane, best of both worlds. Gonna have to take some of this out. And if I didn't say it, my pleasure, Mark. All right, let's show the Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day #4 cover rough with the cover rough of what looks like a Venom Carnage cover. I'll find out what that is, but you're getting two there. It's a twofer, unless that was one of the options and didn't get taken. $750. You're getting one cover rough to a published cover. Jesus, hey man. And I don't know what the other image is. But since I'm dropping the price on everything, I'll drop the price on this to $650. Yeah, Jay, man, what'd you do? You dropped the zero on everything.
That's what I get for copy and paste and trying to do quickly.
It's all right, man. It happens. Thank God we have an understanding community.
What did you drop this one to?
$650. Is the rough sign? Actually, it's not, which is weird. Usually, Mark signs them. I'm sorry to say, it's not signed. That is really weird. But it is a Mark Bagley rough. Marcelo, how are you? All right, so we got to the rough. Let's show the Batman pages. I thought it was the European decimal. No, it's the Dewey Decimal. I don't even know what the Dewey Decimal System is anymore. All right, so this is Grant Morrison, Chris Burnham, really, really rare art from the Grant Morrison collection. With the Batman omnibuses. This is the original story. You got Talia. You got Ra's al Ghul. You got, I think, Damian Wayne. So I'm going to drop it by $100 since I dropped everything else. So $1,400 tonight. Tonight only, $1,400. Yeah, they are, Robert. They are. So $1,400 for a beautiful Burnham. This is a really good story too. Look, it's Grant Morrison. And Burnham is also doing less art these days. So if you're dropping the price of the way you dropped it. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next page. My favorite character, Rickety Bridge. Man, this is a powerful page. Check it out. And you got Batman, Robin, Alfred, Damian. You got everybody there. Drop this one to $1,300. We'll knock $100 off this as well. If somebody buys both pages 1 and 2, I'll knock another $50 off. Yeah, guys, let's get to 70 likes. Come on, 70. Do it for you. Do it for you. I would say do it for you, do it for me, but you're the guys are getting the giveaways, so. All right. Let's go to the more affordable covers. Let's go to the Iron Man #4 cover with Citizen B. I'm going to drop this to 3,000, which is a steal. And Alberto, I'm dropping this to 3,000 partially for you because you've got a Captain America villain there. And for a Bagley Captain America villain, that's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Alberto, you've been liberating your mind to new art. That should be right up your alley. So, Iron Man 4 from 2026. All right, now let's go to Amazing X-Men with the Beast. Yeah, shoulder pads. This is the 90s. I'm not targeting you. I'm helping you. There's a difference. Cap and Jason. Why don't I drop this to 4,000? It's a really great Beast cover. And it's an issue #1. Guys, 70 likes. Another giveaway right now. Let's see. Good. Been a slow day for Cav Post. Hey, guys, post on Cav. Yeah. This is the giveaway so far. Never give up. Never give up. There we go. Now you can see it on anybody watching it on their phone. X-Men. I am surprised the Amazing X-Men hasn't been picked up for no other reason than it's a #1 cover. $4,000 for a Bagley. Do you think you should the next giveaway to encourage people more? It's kind of maybe. Better bid up. I almost missed the show. It's been a busy day. Well, I'm glad you're here, Goo. Thank you for being here. And guys, hit the thumbs up now, please. And after the show, since he talked about J. Jonah Jameson, if we get to 70 likes, I'll give away this J. Jonah Jameson page as well. All right? So 2 giveaways if we get to 70 likes. But we better hurry. All right. You know what? It's getting late. Let's save the rest till the week after next. Yeah. We're waiting for prices to get down in the recap. I'm not changing the prices in the recap, Alberto. I already dropped the prices big time. But if you want to make an offer, that I can't refuse. Wow, that's stereotyping. We got a giveaway. 61. No show next week. Next week, James Siegel will be doing the show. And he's got a special guest. Brian CG. Yes, this is every week, 7 o'clock live on The Experience. Today was a big Spider-Man focus. Next week, James Siegel, the nicest guy in the hobby, will be doing a show. And trust me, I'm going to be talking about tomorrow's Jordan drop in a few minutes. But next Friday, James Siegel. The Friday after that, I'll be back. Special guest Alberto. I can't say. That's for James to tell everybody. But guys, if we get to 70 likes, I'm giving away this page on top of it. Mileage may vary. Hey, I was here on time. Tonight. You guys thought I wasn't. You're all ye of little things. Guys, 59 people watching it. We have 56 likes. How can you put me in a place where I can't give you another giveaway? Yeah, worth the rewatch. Yeah, it was a great interview with Mark. I mean, it's just such a nice guy. Such a nice guy. And it's so awesome to hear the way Marvel's taking care of him. All right, we're going to do a recap right now. All right, Amazing Spider-Man #7, page 12. Let's do it. Let's get this going. Let's do the quick recap. Nope, that's 13 and 14. All right, so drop this to 2 1/4. If it gets claimed, I'll pick another page if we get to 70. So we'll keep it going. So this dropped to 2 1/4. Go to the next page, double page spread, Jay. All right, we dropped this. What did we drop this to, Jay?
700.
700, guys. Double page spread, battle page, 700. 700. So this is really cool. Go to the next one, Jay, because we got to do a recap, talking about everything. Amazing Spider-Man #7, page 15. What I dropped this to, Jay? Daniel, you got it. Congratulations, Daniel. You got a good one. What I drop it to? 350?
700. Oh,
no, this one.
This one, yes, 350.
All right. And Daniel, please fill out the form. All right, Jay, go to the next one. Thank you, Triple B. All right, I think I dropped this to 350 as well. All right, let's go to the next one, Jay. And I think I dropped this to 350 as well. Guys, come on, let's have some fun. Let's get to 70 likes. Push me to do another giveaway. I want to give you guys another giveaway. 13 likes away from another giveaway. All right, let's go to the next one, Jay. We'll take these off. We'll do these in tweaks.
And this was dropped to 650.
Oh, guys, the cover up of Superior Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day by itself is worth the 650. The fact that you get another drawing, and I'll find out what it's to. 59.59, guys, 11 likes away for a second giveaway. This is for you. If we get there, the giveaway's for you. All right, Jay, let's go to the next one. Let's go. We got to go. Got to make it work.
The covers were all dropped 7,000.
Yep, 7,000 to cover. This is Punisher versus Spider-Man. Mark Bagley, pencils and ink, 7K. And remember, on any purchase, no matter how little or how much, 20%. If you need time payments, 20% down, the rest in 30 days. If you need 60 days, then another 20% or more in 30. If you need 90, then another 20% or more in 30 and 60. All right, Mary Jane Wolverine, Mark Bagley. Oh, my stars and garters. This is beautiful. All right, last one, Jay, and then we'll get to the Batman. And then we'll get to the other two Marvels. Citizen V. Did we show the John Romita Jr. Spidey?
Yeah, that was the one right before the Wolverine.
Okay. So we dropped this to 3,000, I believe. All right,
Yes,
Jay,
sir.
go to the Amazing X. Huh?
I was just confirming. Yes, you dropped it to 3,000.
All right, Amazing X-Men. And I dropped this to 4,500.
Drop this to 4,000.
Oh, 4,000. Okay. Bill, you misspelled it. You wrote EXP Mark Ditka. It's Mark Ditko. Ditko. So please re-enter. I want you to have your chance to win. All right, so we're down to the two Batmans. Drop this to 14. What is the page description, issue on pages? It is Amazing Spider-Man number 7, pages 13 and 14. Amazing Spider-Man number 7, pages 13 and 14. You're welcome, Phil. Want everybody to have a chance to win. All right, Jay, go to the next page. And I dropped this to 13. Did I say 13 or 1350? You're welcome.
You said 1,300 for this one, 1,400 for the other one. But if
But
they
if
buy
somebody
two,
buys both, we'll knock another 50 down to 2650.
yes, sir.
All right, we went through everything. Guys, we're going to do the giveaway. We're giving this away. All right, publish page. Never give up. All right, perfect never give up page. We're at 61 likes. If by the time we get to the giveaway, we get to 70, then we'll do a second giveaway. All right, so guys, here we go. Let's do this. Just want to say that we live in a crazy world right now. First thing you should do when you get home is hug your loved ones because you never know what's going to happen. Appreciate what you have. Never be jealous of what you don't have. Be kind and respectful to each other. Help your fellow man if you can. Let's make the world a little bit of a better place. If we can all do a little bit more to make the world a better place, the world will become a better place. Pray for all the strife in the world to end as much as possible. Pray for the wars to end. Pray to help those in need. We really need to get there. We just do. We just do. You know, let's put the human back into humanity. Let's be kind. Let's be gentle. Let's help. Exactly, Semrix. You help one person, you help everybody. All right, tonight at 9, we have Nancy McCann, Comics Unlimited. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock on Comic Art Live, everybody's favorite person, Jordan, will be on Comic Art Live doing a claim sale. Lots of cool stuff. Sunday at 8 o'clock, Ruben the Collector. Don't forget about Ruben. Monday, 6 o'clock, Rex and John, Comic Collectibles. Wait a minute. Is it tomorrow night, Best Coast Comics at 10 o'clock?
I haven't seen if they confirmed for it because Saturday is just kind of like
All right. So right now, Monday at 11, Best Coast Comics. Tuesday at 7, Minute to Skim It. 8 o'clock, tomorrow's Comics Tuesday. 10 o'clock. What's the 10 o'clock show called, Jay?
It's Aggressive Positivity with Tommy Donovan and Paul Allen.
There you go. Wednesday at 7, Comic Collectibles with Rex. Is there a show after that, Jay?
Yes, sir. At 9 Eastern, 8 Central, you got Blake's Buzz.
Blake's Buzz at 9 o'clock. Thursday at 7, What's in the Box with Miss Jen. Jeff, somebody claimed pages 13 and 14. I'm so sorry. They got claimed. 8:30, Comic Geek Speak. 10 o'clock, Mel and Mog. Friday at 1 p.m., the FOC show with Matthias. And 7 o'clock next week will be James Siegel, who rocks. And we're going to do 2 giveaways now. 2 giveaways. So let's do the first giveaway, Jay. We got to go. All right, Jesus Carrera. That is 1 down. All right. Now we're going to give away the J. Jonah Jameson page. We broke 70 likes, so let's do it, baby. If you win, you also got to Brad Grillian 4469. Brad, please fill out the form because you're new. So we got to get you going. All right, everybody. I love you all for being here. It's Friday night. This is one of the favorite things I do all week. It's my favorite way to end the week. Thank you all for being here. Enjoy the weekend. And Jay, take us away.